We have Ms. Leonard.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay? Dr. Stanley and members of the board, I'm Dr. Leonard. I'm in Concord. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I am against technologies that have not been proven to be safe, particularly when they are injected into one's body, and especially the body of a newborn, an infant, or a child. Children have very robust immune systems and are able to mount an immune response to recover from infection. They have a near zero chance of dying from COVID, 0.005%. These shots have been proven to not protect against disease. They also have been proven to be unsafe when given to someone who has already been sick with COVID. If a child gets sick, there are very safe medicines available to help them get better. The data show that many hundreds of children and young adults have died from a serious heart condition called myocarditis. This condition has been proven to be linked to the shots. In addition, many children have died or been severely disabled from these shots. 8 out of 100 children are at risk of a life-threatening reaction to polyethylene glycol, a common ingredient in vaccines. There are really no benefits to these shots, but the risks are devastating. Responsible parents would not knowingly subject their precious children to these harms. There is an effort to encourage children to catch up on their vaccines before school begins in just over 3 weeks. 3 minutes is not enough time to tackle that subject. Suffice it to say that informed consent is required by law to be provided to parents from medical practitioners giving any shots or performing any procedures on your children. Informed consent means that all of the known and potentially serious effects must be explained to you. You have the right to review this information and say no to the shot if you need more time to think about it or to do research. Did you know that COVID-19, HPV, and flu are not required for school attendance? Another option for back to school is to fill out a religious exemption form known as the CRE1. It is easy to find online. You just search under Virginia CRE, the number 1. There is no need to explain your religion or answer any questions about your beliefs. This form is then provided to your child's school along with the school entrance health form. There are many reputable sources of information online about the information I have just provided. Since I am prohibited from handing out any sort of literature or brochures, I can ask you to look at our very own Virginia Medical Freedom Alliance website, which is vamfa.org. They have free informative videos once a month open to the public, and they have a lot of information there. Look at that site to learn more about medical freedom. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. My apologies. Thank you, Dr. Leonard. Next up, Ms. Mendez.
Good evening. Good evening, school board members. I'm Jackie Mendez, a resident of Abington, Virginia, and a member of Campbell Cats. First, welcome Dr. Stanley on your first meeting of superintendent of Campbell County. Clearly, as seen on the agenda for today, this is the most information provided since I have been attending board meetings in 2 years. I pray and hope that this is just the beginning of new initiatives and a dialogue much needed in this county. And for clarity and discussion, the board passed a resolution to ban divisive concepts, CRT, and not utilize the 1619 project materials to teach all children in Campbell County. 1 year later, this board has not incorporated this resolution into policy. We continue to ask why this matter is pending when a simple policy change could be initiated and provided to all employees, parents, and community members. In this community, we are looking to eliminate divisive concepts as well as create a policy that is enforced and administered to all employees of the district. We don't want window dressing to appease the community. We would like an update on this request. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mendez. Next up, Ms. Coleman.
Good evening. I'm Crystal Coleman from Alta Vista. First, let me congratulate Dr. Stanley on his first school board meeting as our superintendent. Dr. Stanley, as I recently communicated to you, you have a unique opportunity to make a real difference, to help steer this school district to address the issues that have been placed before it for the past 2 years, and to finally let this community know what Campbell County Schools really stands for. Speaking of community, I've had the unique opportunity to meet a very diverse group of citizens while canvassing for candidates in the upcoming school board election. Despite the diversity, a single common thread emerged. The community feels disconnected from the school board. A lack of communication and a lack of transparency topped the list of whys, along with disregard for parental concerns. The newer, more open format of tonight's agenda is a good start. But far be it from me to say that there is much more work to be done. You all know what the issues are. You've seen us fight for and fight against, all in the pursuit of the best for our children. Because the resolution against divisive concepts never became an actual school policy, it's no wonder that we now have the 1619 project on the shelf in one of our school libraries. While attempts have been made to address our school libraries, no one is addressing how this mess gets into them to begin with. Presenting hypersexualized material, rape, vulgarity, gender ideologies, and on does nothing to attain a world-class education, but rather attempts to normalize this aberrant behavior to children at highly vulnerable and susceptible ages. If Bedford and Hanover counties can tackle these issues head-on and support the parental values expressed from within their communities, why then is Campbell County not capable of the same? Don't our children deserve to be protected? Don't our parental rights deserve to be upheld? Yes, there is a unique opportunity knocking at the door in Campbell County, but will it be answered? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Okay. Next up, approval of the June 12th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Jones and a second by Mr. Maddox. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Payment of the bills.
Got another set of minutes.
We have 2 minutes to approve.
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the June 26 meeting now. I'll entertain a motion to approve the June 26 meeting minutes.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brandt and a second by Mr. Jones. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Payment of the bills.
Mr. Chairman, I reviewed the bills for this month and moved to approve payment.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Miller and a second by Ms. Parker. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Acceptance of donations. Ms. McClanahan.
Tonight you have 2 donations listed for approval. Unless you have any questions, I ask that you approve them.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Maddox and a second by Mr. Phillips. Is there any further discussion regarding the donations? Not. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of non-resident tuition. Ms. McClanahan again.
Tonight you have applicants listed for approval for the new school year. Unless you have any questions, I ask that you approve them as presented.
Move for approval. Second.
We've got a motion by Mr. Brandt, a second by Mr. Phillips. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of request for supplemental transfer appropriations. Ms. McClanahan, once again.
Tonight you have 4 appropriations listed. Unless you have any questions on those, I ask you to approve them as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
We got a motion by Dr. Miller and a second by Mr. Maddox. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of designation of alternate staff member attending board meetings. Dr. Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I take over as new superintendent and Dr. Hale takes over as assistant superintendent, we need to update our designee. So I would recommend that Dr. Hale be that designee in case I'm not available for a meeting.
Okay.
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Phillips.
Yep.
Motion by Mr. Phillips and a second by Mr. Brandt. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of Stronger Connections Grant Program. Dr. Stanley.
Yes, sir. Well, we've got our staff, central office, that would like to apply for a Title IV Part A grant called the Stronger Connections Grant Program. It can bring our county over $350,000. And if we receive this is a competitive grant. If we receive this, then we would like to consider using it to go towards a truancy officer for the 24-25 school year and 25-26. Also crisis management training with a new program that I'll share with you in just a few minutes. It's standard response protocol. Stipends for staff to develop anti-bullying and substance abuse curriculum, and stipends for teachers who participate in this anti-bullying training.
Who's offering the grant?
This would be a federal grant.
And so you want to use it for an additional truancy officer?
Correct.
We have 2 right now,
Correct.
right? So-
Correct.
And are we competitive?
Yeah,
So
the
what-
way
so
it
one-year
looks right now,
grant?
based on our demographics, we should be highly competitive.
It's a 1-year grant?
Correct.
I thought you said 2 years.
It's a one-time grant, okay,
Okay.
but we can use
Use
it
it for-
and spend it over a course of 2
Okay.
years.
Okay, so we would just have to fund it beyond that.
We basically, it's not, there's no match that I'm aware of. This is basically, we're going to apply for this grant, and if we get it, then it's us to use towards these items.
Okay, but I mean afterwards, after the first 2 years, then?
Correct.
Okay.
We, depending on funding, if we decide to keep that position, we can.
Right,
If
I
not,
got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
We
So we-
assess need, everything after that.
that's right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the application for this grant.
Second?
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Jones and a second by Ms. Parker. Is there any further discussion regarding the grant? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of utilities easement. This is Dr. Stanley
Yes, it
again.
is. Well, this past week, I was approached by the Campbell County Utilities and Services Authority about granting them an easement to go to the new subdivision behind the Campbell County Tech Center. The utilities easement would allow them to have sewage that would then go from that subdivision down to the pump house down by Yellow Branch. So I've walked the property with Brad Fisher. I've also shared the document that accompanies the easement with David Hawkins, and he's looked over it and approved it. And I'm asking your blessing to sign off that when it's ready.
Are we using any of that property actively right now that they're going to be digging up, or?
Right now, it's behind the tech center, and we have an obstacle course on it, but it's right there along a tree line. And, you know, when we're looking at it, we don't foresee anything in the near future that would be using that property for.
Will they replace the obstacle course?
It's-
Is there any structure?
If you see that, it's not a whole lot to
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
Are we on septic here? Or is it septic tanks?
So
Are
again,
we on county
Connected
sewer?
to sewer.
correct.
So we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Dr. Miller and a second by Mr. Maddox. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel report. Ms. Hunley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. You have the personnel report in front of you. I'd ask that you approve it as written unless I can answer any questions for you.
Where do we stand?
We have 8 teaching positions left, so they are not all reflected on this personnel report since it came out last week. But since this was written, we are down to 8. A week ago, we had about 20. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. We have 2 elementary, 3 special ed, and 3 various secondary positions still open. But we're working on them.
And you're comfortable that there'll be no
I am. So we are, we'll have the positions filled in some way or another. We may have to start with a couple with a long-term sub situation. We did that with one person last year, but we will have somebody in front of our kiddos the first day of school.
Okay.
Yeah. It just continues to be a situation where we have to help these folks find or obtain their teacher licensure. But we can do that.
Okay.
Well, if there are no other questions, then I'll move for approval.
Second. We had a motion by Mr. Brandt and a second by Mr. Phillips. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Ms. Hunt.
Thank you.
First reading, Mr. Sis.
Good evening, Dr. Stanley, members of the board. Tonight I have a first reading, two policies for first reading. I ask that you take a look at those and give me a yell if you need. If there's any questions about those.
Okay.
Mr. Sis, I was just reading over, so page 2 of 3 of the first school meals and snacks. It just kind of confused me, that very first line with the change. It says the 30 school-sponsored fundraisers per school year, during which 5 fundraisers not meet the nutritional guidelines. It just threw me off a
Yeah,
little bit.
that's just the way that that's written, so that that's basically follows federal law.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you can't have any kind of fundraisers where you're selling snacks that don't meet the same nutritional guidelines that the school system uses for their meals program. It gives
Okay.
you some leadway on that, just a little bit.
Any other questions? Okay.
Second reading? Okay, second reading. Did want to address acceptable computer system use. Dr. Miller had asked last month if we would take a look at artificial intelligence and how we would address that. And so just like in 1998 when we were fighting pagers and how to deal with the technology of things like that, or the advent of vapes and just all these different things that have come out that we are trying to figure out what's going on. We really have done a deep dive into artificial intelligence. Currently, ChatGPT and known artificial intelligence sources are not allowed on our computer system to start with, so students couldn't access that. Secondly, there are some future serious employment opportunities that are probable to arise with the advent of artificial intelligence. And so we want to be able to address that in a way that we can teach our students and we can proper uses of it and possibly build a curriculum around it at some point. Dr. Hale went to a meeting last week, and if you'd like to address that.
Sure. So we had a meeting with Region 2000, and so we were hearing from leading experts about what artificial intelligence is, first of all, its uses, but also that there is still a lot of work to be done to understand the big implications because of it's such a new technology. Within 5 days, ChatGPT had 1 million users. TikTok it took almost 2 years. So just to give you an idea of how fast moving this technology is, we're going to continue to collaborate with our neighbors and other divisions, and we do feel right now that our policy where it is not allowed, and additionally we need to continue digital citizenship to address plagiarism and ethics behind this to help our students be prepared. So we know that that will be a work in progress, and we feel that our current policy is where we need to be right now, and we'll continue to monitor that to make adjustments down the road.
Certainly academic integrity is already addressed in our current policies, and this is an academic integrity issue if they were to use ChatGPT or some other, any artificial intelligence to write papers for them or to solve problems for them. That would be against our Code of Student Conduct to start with. We have to somehow address it to where it's part of what we teach kids is how to use in a proper manner, I think, is where we're going to be going. So that's why we didn't add it necessarily to the, just right off the bat, prohibited items, but we'll be coming back to you with more information if that's all right, as we learn more.
And currently Turn It In addresses computer essays. There is a way it can detect that as they turn in essays digitally. That is something that we do have, and it has that capability currently.
Well, I would just like to say that as fast as AI is moving, that AI will get quicker to be able to write a term paper that looks like a 10th grader wrote a term paper. And so
Not only that, but in that child's own language, so that it will recognize possibly the texts, the communications that child has used in the past and can adapt to that to where no one could tell the difference. And so we recognize the strength of that and the danger of that kind of technology, and we'll get to that place at some point. But it's
But doesn't it also recognize people's voices, where a kid could program whatever,
oh yes,
calling the school as their dad, saying,
yes, very powerful stuff.
And it's changing exponentially.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
I just ask that we be diligent and be ahead of the game as much as we can, and focus on our ethics, but still.
Dr. Hale, would you talk about the job opportunity situation? There were some jobs and some future learnings that I found very interesting, what you debriefed me.
They anticipate right now, which could change, by 2027, there will be at least 1 million jobs where you are a machine literacy specialist with programming and what is put into that. And jobs will ask, how do you use artificial intelligence? Will be one question when you're being hired.
So finding that balance.
Sure.
I don't think it puts us behind the 8 ball not knowing everything, because it does seem like everybody's a little bit on their heels about it. Like, what is this? It's so powerful. So we'll continue to look at it closely.
Everyone worldwide.
So do we have regular collaborations with the others because everybody's got something to input, to contribute there. So how often do we do that? Just
This was the first one for this specifically. I know the superintendents meet. Instructional leaders, we meet once a month for Region 5 to discuss. So we do have good collaboration within the state.
okay. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We'll need a motion to approve that second reading.
Motion to approve the second reading of the policy changes.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Phillips and a second by Mr. Maddox. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sisk.
Have a good night.
Next item up, report of the superintendent. Dr. Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, let me say it's an honor and a privilege to sit in this seat and sit up here with you all. Lead this incredible division that's made up of so many hardworking people, so many talented and good people. That's been my experience over 30 years is that, and working in 3 of the attendance zones, but being familiar, obviously, over in the Brookville area as well, that we have such a wealth of great, talented people, and everybody's job is hard. Those are, I guess, the 2 biggest aha moments for me when I came to central office. So thank you for the opportunity. The TLA, you saw that Teacher Learning Academy was a great way to wrap up the school year. It's good because teachers want to learn from each other. They want to collaborate. They want choice in what they do. They don't all need the same thing. And they get a chance to make a little extra spending cash before the summer hits. So it's a win-win for everybody. It's been a big hit. And then, as Dr. Hale said, we had the leadership conference second week of July, where we brought all of our administrators together And we really had three main themes of that conference. One is safety. What are we doing to be proactive and protect our kids from the dangers that are real and out there? And how are we practicing our responses to that? So when it comes to just safety, we had the sheriff's office. We had Mike Longhorn. He was there. He spoke. He did a great job. And all of the resource officers throughout the county were there. And it was impactful. And what we did is we talked about new standard response protocols that I've given to each of you that's been really adopted throughout the state and even to a larger degree. This standard response protocol is put on or has been created by the I Love You Guys Foundation. And it pretty much just creates the same terminology for every school, every teacher, every law enforcement official that shows up. We've all got the same sheet of music that we're singing to when it comes to a crisis. So that was a great experience. Other things that we talked about there is we talked about the importance of learning. I mean, obviously that's what we do, and we need to be great instructors and focus on learning in our schools and our accreditation status, make sure that we're staying fully accredited. And then finally, we talked about culture, and we talked about how important it is to have student-centered cultures within our schools where parents feel welcome, they feel comfortable knowing their child's teacher, they feel comfortable knowing their child's administrators, and they feel comfortable going in and talking about issues that might be impacting their child. So really those three themes were our focus during those 2 days. And the feedback that I heard from our administrators was they were energized, they felt great, they were motivated, and it was 2 good days. Then of course next week we've got new teachers coming in on Tuesday. We'll have 4 days of orientation with them, and then the following week all of our teachers come back, and then we have our back to school day on August the 9th. So it's here.
Summer just started.
Summer just started, and I hate to say it's over.
Yeah.
Dr. Stanley, when you were talking about culture and parents feeling secure, which obviously is important, it's important to some of our members in our audience, but when we hear about lack of transparency, how are we executing transparency, I guess is the best way of putting it, or how are we sharing with our administrators that we are transparent?
Well, I think one way, and we've tried to do a better job of telling our story when it comes to our school board meetings and showing what's going on in our schools, because there are a lot of great things that are happening, and our schools need to do some of that same thing. But having our open houses, having our parents in, introducing themselves to them, showing that, we're all on the same page and we're all in this together. And that, when you're dealing with a school system with so many students and parents and community people, it's not always perfect, but at the same time, we're all willing to sit down at the table and talk about what those issues are. And if we need to change what we're doing, then if that makes us better, then that's what we're willing to do. I think just administrators need to be approachable, create opportunities where parents can see them as leaders, compassionate leaders in the schools.
Thank you.
Any other question? Anything else?
That's it.
Is that okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, matters from the board. Let's start with Mr. Jones.
I don't have much of anything, but I will comment that the Rustburg Middle School project is, after the removal of the old building, it really changes the outlook of that whole property. I mean, it's, never would have envisioned when we were planning it, the scenery or the view that you get coming from west to east on 24, being able to see the school and the mountain in the background. It's really spectacular. And it's really something we can be proud of. Dr. Stanley, welcome. Good to have you here. Dr. Hale, look forward to bright future. And thanks to all the people that are preparing our staff and administrators for the upcoming year. Just it's hard work. I know summer is supposed to be summer, but you work year-round, so we appreciate all that. That's all I got.
Mr. Phillips?
Yeah, so I heard from Dr. Shields. They said they had 50 participants in the freshman bridge program that finished up about a week or so ago toward the end of June. And also summer school students earned about 50 credits through that program. From the track and field standpoint, Elijah Sherrard, Marshawn Rosser, Jamar Fleming, and Caden Taylor finished sixth in the 4x100 Adidas National Track and Field Championship, so congratulations to those gentlemen. And as we've already touched on, teachers are reporting back, new teachers next week, and then we call them the grizzled veterans the week after that, so welcome back to the teachers. And let's see. Hear from Ms. White as well, not to forget our custodial staff has put in a lot of hard work to get all the facilities cleaned and ready to go for the students and teachers, so thanks to those folks. And Dr. Hale and everyone involved, just that was a great little video and great effort on the the welcome back of the teachers and the Learning Academy there. I remember my wife began as a teacher, I think it was in 2002. There was nothing like that available, and she just kind of prepared herself that evening and went to work the next day and figured it out as she went. So that's great that that kind of opportunity exists now for the teachers. I know it takes a big load off of them. I remember that was a very stressful day for my wife when she reported for the first time and didn't have that support behind her. So great job for everybody involved in that effort. So that's all I had.
Ms. Parker?
Yes, of course. Congratulations, Dr. Stanley and Dr. Hale, and I appreciate Denton and Bruce and everyone in central office who have been very open to me coming down and meeting with them. I know you guys hear that regularly, but I really appreciate it. Everyone's always a warm welcome, open to new ideas, and lots of good things happening. So excited to talk about some of those things as we move forward. The TLA, again, I attended both days. It was amazing. So the teachers, I mean, what better way for the teachers to meet each other in other schools? Because there's not many other ways they could meet each other, right? And for them to collaborate, everyone had fun. I learned a lot. Classroom management. I still keep meaning to know the name of the preschool teacher that was, I mean, just the high energy was absolutely insane. I can't remember her name, and I just feel so bad about that. But also like yoga in the classroom. I mean, some good strategies to stop, when you're losing, when the kids are, a little anxious, and to do a couple yoga poses and things. It was really awesome, I have to say. I met a lot of really great people from across the county that I haven't been to visit yet. I've been to William Campbell, I haven't been to Alta Vista or Brookneal Elementary yet. Super excited to see the teachers teaching each other. And what a great opportunity. Also, our professional development, which I have not attended yet, but when folks ask about our teachers and where they get their education or continuing education, and I tell them it's in-house, and then a lot of our base is actual Campbell County residents, born and raised, graduated from, multiple generations of families, and that we do purport Campbell County values. It's just amazing. When I go to I don't know if folks who are out here listening, but there are other districts that have to bring in teachers from other states because no one wants to work there, and that's in Virginia. So that's not an obstacle for us, and I appreciate all your work, Amy and the Amy's, all the, Miss Ale. I mean, I just lost your last name, Amy. Apologize. Hunley, Miss Hunley, for all of your work with personnel. So great summer. I know we're getting ready to go back. I can't wait for open houses. And I thanks to everybody here on the board, too. We've done a lot of work this summer, and I appreciate everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Brandt?
Echoing what everyone said, Dr. Stanley, and Dr. Hale, we're very fortunate and very blessed to have both of you. So, for all of the employees, whatever position you might have, I hope you have the best year ever. And hope, in any way that I or this board can help with any of you, please let us know. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Brandt. Mr. Maddox?
Excuse me, Dr. Stanley, Dr. Hill, I'd like to welcome y'all here, and also Mrs. Anderson, who is attending her first meeting as principal of Altus Combined School.
You owe me.
Yay.
How do you, Leon? Okay. But well, that's all I have.
Dr. Miller?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add. Dr. Stanley, Dr. Hale, it's fresh faces up here, and we're excited to be here with you, to support you. As I've said before, we weren't looking for a change, we were looking for a continuum, but we're always looking for new ideas and new opportunities, and looking forward to those. And I think we've got, you know, a good, strong foundation to build on, but there's plenty of opportunities to reach new heights and do new stuff. So I'm excited about that. Look forward to the new school year, new teachers, and just really don't have much more to add. But Dr. Leonard, I'm not quite sure, but there's no mandate for children to be vaccinated against COVID, is there? No. So I don't know if that was a concern of yours, but Campbell County does not require that. So I don't know if there's any question about that. I just wanted to share that.
It's on the school enrollment form, so some parents may think it's required because it's there, and we're understanding that pediatricians are strongly recommending that, and not letting the parents know, or the parents don't know to ask.
That's not our
requirement for school, even if it's listed on the form.
That's not our, that's what, the interaction between parent and student, a pediatrician, is not under our purview at all, but we don't require it. So, that's all I have.
Okay, just again, Dr. Hale, Dr. Stanley, congratulations, and look forward to supporting and working with you guys going forward. And Mr. Jones, just to tag along what you said about it being a 12-month, you know, everybody's busy here 12 months out of the year. I was down at central office right after the end of school, and I jokingly made a comment about, oh, I guess you guys are just putting up your feet this summer and just taking it easy. And they ran me out of the building. But I realized, and all jokes aside, I realized how much work goes into the summer, and that's when the bulk of the work is probably done during the summer as you prepare for the school year. And we appreciate all the efforts that go in through the summer and through the school year, so thank you. And that's all I have. Does anyone else have any comments, questions, or any items to address? If not,
Trace, with all the new changes, can you get us a new phone list?
yeah. Get us a little more. If there are no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I got a motion by Mr. Brandt and a second by Mr. Jones. Is there any further discussion? Oh, Mr. Phillips, sorry. The second was by Mr. Phillips. If there's, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Put a new song there.